Well, thank you all so much for coming. We'll get to about me in just a second. I want to just jump right in. We'll talk about marketing today, particularly being a marketing goldfish and what does that mean. But in order to get started, and I just want to make sure I've got my things set up correctly here. Let's go. Come on. All right. So real quick, where does this little phrase come from? If you haven't seen Ted Lasso, it's a kind of a popular little saying from the show, and I'll let him share with you what happens. But basically in this scene, Sam just got completely defeated by his biggest rival, and then the rival mocked him to his face. And so Coach Ted calls him over to chat with him for a second. I'm going to mute myself while this plays. So that's where the phrase comes from. And effectively what Ted Lasso is saying to Sam here is that, no matter what happens, whatever the failure is, you're not that failure now. You can put that in the past. Sometimes you can use it to make yourself better. Sometimes you can't. But when it comes to marketing, what a lot of people struggle with is that they had some sort of failed marketing. I'm trying to make this little bar go away, but it's not going to, so we're just gonna leave it. They had some sort of failed marketing moment in the past, and that experience was such a negative experience towards what marketing is that they decided to kind of leave it behind and to ignore actively marketing, as we'll say. And so today I want to talk with you about avoiding that, how we can embrace marketing, how you're already doing marketing, whether you want to believe that or not, and what are some things that you can be doing that actually move the needle today. So I put up here, I'll probably talk about the importance of marketing, the difference between marketing and sales, why marketing is the most impactful business activity and most businesses ignore it, the 5 core elements of digital marketing, and then some action items for you to use today. If we go off the rails, we'll go off the rails, but that's kind of where we're going to start from a timeline here. And I'm very interruptible. So if there's anything that I say that you go, clarify, tell me more, whatever, please jump right in. Nick, I'll let you be watching the chat on Zoom as well. Thank you so much for that. So a bit about who I am. I'm Jake Tlapek. I've been around in the Elgin, Huntley area for a long time. Took a quick detour. I did do a stint in the United States Air Force. Found out that was, well, impressive to travel the world. It was not really my speed. So I got out. I was a board game designer for a while. I'm a Scotch enthusiast. I read a lot of fantasy and sci-fi books. I have 3 wonderful children and a beautiful wife. And most importantly to this group, I am a small business owner. I built my business from the ground up. And I have been doing this for 10 years. I did not go to school for marketing. I learned what works and I stick to what works. So what you're going to hear from me, although I've worked backwards through a lot of the psychology of marketing, it's from actual real world use and not from a book. All right. And then obviously I'm also an entrepreneur and I will always tell it like it is. I never am gun shy to tell the truth, because if I can't tell you the truth, we can't actually fix something. So that's just who I am and the way that I approach business in general. I love small business. At the end of the day, that's my obsession. I have way too many of them at this point. So anyways, going on, marketing is not optional. A lot of small business owners think that marketing is this department or this expenditure, but it is not. Marketing is the consumption of your business identity to other people. All right. So whether you're actually doing active marketing maneuvers or you're just running your business, you're doing marketing because people are having experiences with you. Marketing is the intersection of awareness, interest, and trust. All right, I'll say that one more time. It's the intersection of awareness, interest, and trust. And no matter what you're doing in your business with your business, you are impacting people in these three kind of columns. And so, like I said, by definition, you cannot actually avoid marketing. Okay. Just by running your business, you're marketing. So let's talk about awareness, interest, and trust and why these three things are so important to marketing and the business. These three items are what your potential customers, and to be honest, we don't have to even just say potential customers. Your existing customers will also be using awareness, interest, and trust to make their buying decisions. All right. Awareness is what can I buy? Right. So that's us getting our name out there. If somebody doesn't know that you exist, you aren't an option to buy. All right. So we need to create awareness through our business and our marketing. The second is interest. Why would I buy? Right. So now I know you exist. What's the interest to me in purchasing your product? Right. A lot of businesses focus on what is the best thing about my product. And one thing I commonly tell them is, let's not talk about what's the best thing about your product. Let's talk about the thing that makes your product unique. Sometimes they're the same thing, okay? But creating interest requires distinction, all right? Why would I buy yours over someone else's? Why do you buy a Wendy's cheeseburger over a Burger King cheeseburger? Think about that, because you probably have an answer for that in your head that you've never sat and thought through, all right? And that might be as simple as distance, but it is still something that we need to consider when we're buying. And then lastly, the trust. Which do I buy? Now that I know my options and I know why the options are distinct, who do I trust enough to give them my capital and consume their product? All right. So these three layers combine and we put them under a word called branding. So this is the core of what branding actually is the effort to influence awareness, interest, and trust. So isn't that sales job though? Isn't it sales job to help you decide to buy? The answer is no. It is not sales job to do that. Okay. Sales and marketing have a very interesting relationship. We're going to discuss that here in a second, but I want to give you a quick statistic. Spotio, which is a massive analytical company, has put out some data that says that 50 to 90% of the buyer's journey takes place prior to engaging with a salesperson or a checkout. That is not just the lion's share. That is almost the whole thing. That 50 to 90% is what marketing is kind of responsible for, right? If it's responsible for 50 to 90% of the experience, by extension, it is worth 50 to 90% of your clientele, okay? So it's very important for us to acknowledge that there is a difference between sales and marketing. So let's talk about that for a second. It's a very complicated relationship because over time, the relationship between marketing and sales has changed primarily thanks to the internet. So marketing is not responsible for sales. All right. This is one thing I love to talk with businesses about because they say, well, I did marketing, but I got no sales from it. I don't care. That wasn't the job. Did you get opportunities to sell? That's what we're looking at for marketing. Did your sales team or your checkout cart get the opportunity to make a sale? All right. Marketing uses branding, right? So we've got three distinct entities here. We've got marketing, we've got sales, and we've got branding, which is that effort to manipulate the awareness, the interest, and the trust. Marketing uses branding to develop and nurture people into potential customers, not actual customers, potential customers. And great marketing, and this is just an extra distinction I like to throw in here. Great marketing avoids making your brand annoying or lamentable to people that cannot become potential customers. So what does that mean? Okay. Have you ever seen an ad and you look at that and go, there is no way I will ever buy that thing because that ad makes me so frustrated and angry? Okay. I think back, this is many, many, many years ago. Six Flags had an ad campaign with a dancing old man and some very annoying music. All right. In my soul, I'm positive there are people that did not go to Six Flags because of that commercial. All right. Or maybe there's a commercial that has some suggestive content that you don't like that turns you off to the brand. So that would be an example of avoiding, other people becoming anti-brand ambassadors. So marketing creates the opportunities. Sales is the activity of converting a potential customer into a client. All right. So we take the handoff from marketing and we get it into the sales system, which doesn't mean a person. Okay. A lot of e-commerce or web buying is popular nowadays. And that checkout system is your salesperson. It is the sales element of the interaction, right? So don't think of it just as I talked to a person and I was doing sales to them. It also includes the experience of buying online. So it's the activity of converting them into an actual client. The confusion that commonly occurs between marketing and sales is branding. And the reason for that is because they both use branding in a slightly different way, but it doesn't change what the branding is. So while marketing is responsible for positioning the branding, sales is the extension of the branding and harnesses all three of those elements of brand in order to complete the sale. I'll say that one more time in a slightly different way. Marketing positions the branding. They put the branding out there for people to experience and develop themselves within the brand. Sales then takes that nurturing and uses it to convert the person into a sale. So if we can wrap our heads around the fact that branding is used in two separate ways, even though it's the same thing, we can understand the difference between marketing and sales. Awesome. So if sales can do it, why should I market? And we just come right back to this. 50 to 90% of the sales process or the whole buying process is before the sales process. Okay. It depends on your product. If you're a B2B business, that sales team is going to come in a lot earlier than if you're selling t-shirts online. All right. I mean, it's just how it's going to be. But we need to be aware that marketing is not only responsible for 50%, it's responsible for the first 50%. So in addition to not only being very valuable to the closing end of the process, marketing is the most efficient manner that we've come up with to date to share our business information, nurture our opportunities, become findable, grow our audience, and also become sustainable as a business. So marketing, at the end of the day, this is what I like to say. Marketing is far more lean, agile, and consistent than a salesperson. That's it. If I send someone a link to a cart page with a shirt already in it, that is far less effective than them going to my site, perusing all of the shirts they could buy, finding the one that they connect with, adding it to the cart, and completing the sale. Likewise, if I was in a more traditional sales setting, it's a lot easier for them to research their options, find a connection with us through our verbiage, through our imagery, through our website, through our social media, whatever that might be, wherever they experienced the brand, and then engage with the salesperson instead of a salesperson calling them cold and saying, do you want this service? That's the value of marketing in a nutshell. All right. I tried marketing, it didn't work. That's what we're talking about with Be a Goldfish. Be a Goldfish. All right. The number of campaigns as a 10-year veteran of marketing, the number of campaigns I have seen bomb and the number of dollars that I've seen go out in those campaigns would gross you out. But it's not about the one campaign that failed. It's about the one campaign that killed it. I'll give you an exact example. We had a company that was struggling to make headway into opportunities. Okay, they knew their market, they had it very focused, and they had no way to access that market. They had tried all different kinds of things, trade shows and cold emails and newsletters and cold call, everything that they could think of. Okay, tons of campaigns, low to no success. They tried again. They tried a new way. This time they tried to take their list of opportunities and utilize that in an advertising space. And they went from having spent, tens of thousands of dollars on marketing efforts to get 5 to 10 leads. And now they have an ad campaign that runs on a regular basis that creates a warm, interested lead for every $15 of spend. Now, when their average sale price is $28,000 a year per account, that's a pretty good opportunity. All right. So if what you tried didn't work, don't lament, don't be sad about the money that you put into that or the time that you put into that, because marketing is an art and a science. It's a true amalgamation of both. And we need to be okay with trying. Okay. I use the very classic quote from Thomas Edison: I haven't found one way that works, I found 1,000 ways that didn't, right? So it's a classic quote. And it's true, not just in marketing and not just in inventing, but in so many different areas. Don't give up on that first time, okay? And like any other skill, each person has their own strengths and weaknesses that can be improved with time. Personally, I do not really enjoy social media. It's not something that is at the forefront of my mind all the time. But having been in marketing for a long enough time, I'm now aware of it. I do it. I follow the trends. I keep my eyes on it. And I pay attention. I'm much better today than I was 10 years ago, than I even was 5 years ago, because I keep trying. All right. The number of videos and posts I've put out that have 0 views, 0 likes, 0 shares is very, very sad, but it's okay. We're getting better. All right. And I say this to my clients all the time. Not every campaign is a banger. All right. I would get that tattooed, but that terminology might go away over time. So just know that it's not going to be perfect every time. All right. And the goal of marketing is not the sale. It's the opportunity. We need to create opportunities before we can actually create sales. So I always get, it's expensive to market. It's expensive to do it. Well, you're right. It is expensive to do marketing, but we have 2 different currencies that we can choose to spend. We have time and we have money. Those are our 2 different currencies that we can spend to produce marketing. I'm going to give you a quick list of 10 things that cost nothing but time. If money, at the end of the day, if money is the restraint for marketing, here are 10 things that you can do right now that cost nothing but time. A Google My Business account. You can post on your social media. You can create email templates. You can start a blog. You can post informative videos. You can create, oh, thanks, Google. You can create a PDF giveaway, okay? You can write a case study. You can help a reporter. That's haro.com. I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. You can host a webinar, all right? Or you could build a website. All of these things cost just time. I guess website, you need to host it somewhere, but we're splitting hairs here. It's not a matter of the cost. The cost in not doing marketing is so much higher than the cost of time and money up front. Unless there is one loophole in that. unless you don't care about growing your business. I need to say that. If you just are very comfortable with where you're at and you have no interest in ever being bigger, keep on keeping on. Your referral network and your reputation will carry you forward for the rest of your business. But I believe that the vast majority of entrepreneurs and business owners want their business to grow. So let's talk about the digital baseline. This is, to me, in my business, this is what we do. This is the most important thing that I think every business, no matter what you do, should be doing these 5 things. All right. And this is for digital marketing specifically. There are lots of different marketing campaigns and ideas out there for what you can do. You can do mailers. You can do, I know they have the little screens at the urinals, here in Crystal Lake. And there's lots of other options that are not digital. We're going to talk about the digital because the internet is so huge. All right. I was just looking up 85% of purchasing decisions start with a Google search. 85%. That's almost 9 out of 10. If we're not showing up on Google for what we sell, we're losing out on almost 9 out of 10 purchases. All right. So here's the 5 elements that I feel are required to create a digital presence. All right. Number 1, an objection handling and CTA, a call to action focused website. All right. We'll break these down here in just a minute. A search engine optimization plan. So that's making sure we show up on Google and Bing. I know I said the word Bing. Yes, that's right. Bing matters. A listing management strategy, a social media strategy, and targeted paid ads, which is the one that no one ever wants to talk about. And we'll get to it here in a second. Nick, how am I doing on time? I'm good. Okay. All right. All right. So let's talk about website. So one of the most important things about your website is that it has to be fast and it has to be pretty. I'm going to give you some tools at the end of the talk that you can use to test this. But that being said, if you want to learn a bunch of statistics about how websites are being used by downstream customers, on my website, thewizard.marketing, we just put out a massive infographic over all the website statistics. I'm not going to try and remember it off the top of my head because there's so many on there, but a lot of people make a decision on whether or not your website looks good. That's it. They don't care anything else. If they load up the site and your website looks like it was designed in '99, they're gone. You lost that sale, regardless of whether your product was exactly what they needed in their life. You have to look trustworthy to them, okay? And it has to perform in a trustworthy manner. That's why one of my biggest preaching points is abandon these $5 hosting websites or these $5 hosting companies. Get off of GoDaddy, get off of Bluehost, go to a company that charges you $50 a month for hosting and get a good speed on your website, because if your website doesn't load in under 2 seconds, people leave. 2 seconds is what you get to load. So I know it seems silly to say, but fast and pretty is really the first thing you need to worry about on your website, not the last. A user experience centric. So what that means is I don't care what you want to do with your website. I don't care what you think about your website. The only thing that matters is how your website will be used. How many people have gone to a restaurant website and cannot find the menu, so you go somewhere else? What is the most important thing of a restaurant? The menu. It should be the easiest thing to find on your website. I should pull up, Rosati's.com and a giant button at the top to say, see the menu. Okay? Because that is user experience centric. I don't care that Rosati's was open for 35 years and started by 2 brothers and blah, 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 blah. I don't care about that. I want the menu. We need to answer the questions that they have, not the questions that we want to answer. Can I read that one more time? We need to answer the questions that the visitor has, not the questions that we want to answer. Just like the menu, okay? We can answer whatever questions we want about how long we've been there, about all of our locations, about, can go on and on about our service and how beneficial it is. But if they just want to know, what's the price? If they just want to know what's on the menu, if they just want to know, how far away are you? We need to answer those questions first and foremost, and not the ones that we think are important. You need to show the full size of your offering. So if you have something with levels, or if you have multiple products, you need to show each one individually, and you need to separate them. You can't have one giant page with every service on it. You need to say, here's a page dedicated to talking about wedding photography. Here's one that's talking about portrait headshots, okay? Here's one that talks about breathing techniques. These are the things that we need to create a singular entity on the page so they can experience that one item by itself instead of in a sea of too many options. We need to spoon feed the information, okay? This is something that took me a long time to learn. I am very guilty of being too eloquent when writing on a website, all right? Most people do not have large vocabularies. Most people are not small business owners or entrepreneurs. They're consumers, okay? And there's a reason why emojis are not going anywhere. We're getting more of them every year. There's more emojis, okay? I'm constantly shocked, like, why did we need an emoji for that? Okay? It's because of the simplicity of the transfer of information. So we need to make sure that whatever we're communicating on our website, we're communicating in a way that's easy to consume. Big headlines, tiny paragraphs, not drowning them in text that they're never gonna read. Icon, title, that's it. You don't need more than that because that's all they're going to consume. All right? Call to actions everywhere. All right, this is where that sales part comes into the whole marketing piece. We need to move them along out of marketing and into sales. And so your website needs to be able to do that. We need to help them know what to do. Click here to schedule a consultation. Request a quote. Contact us. If that's not on just about every screen on your website as you scroll, you're making a mistake. Because if they find a piece of information that would trigger them to go to sales, and then they don't see a way to get to it, adios, we're gone. You lost the opportunity. And everything needs to work. Your website needs to work. Broken pages, I'm out. Dead link, I'm out. Okay? Image won't load and it's a picture of something important, I'm out. Your website needs to work. All right? And then intake forms that are both specific, right? So how many websites have you gone to where you're buying something and the form is name, email, phone number, message? Okay. Why can't you have a drop down that says, I want to talk about these 5, one of these 5 products? If you sell 5 products, which one do you want to talk about? Okay. That specificness helps them to close, because now you're asking them, can you write a detailed message about what you just read on my website and why you want it? No. I want to talk about, this. I want to talk about that. Done. Checkbox. Send. Makes it much easier for them. And then the other piece is that you need to follow up on the contact forms. Number of businesses that just take in contact forms and ignore them is hilarious to me. And probably not anyone in this room, but it does happen. So make sure that those contact forms actually get followed up on. One of my big industries that I work in is the green space, landscapers and hardscapers. Almost 75% of the decision-making process for those potential clients is who got back to me. Not are you good, not do you cost the right amount. Did you actually call me back? That's simple. I know that's not part of the website, but it's very important because it's an extension of the website and the brand. All right, enough about websites. Let's talk about search engine optimization. Search engine optimization, if you don't know what that is, Google and Bing and all these search engines have rules for why they show your sites, okay? Search engine optimization is the process of writing the content on your website to show up for the searches that you want to show up for. So what are some searches that you want to show up for? Well, what would a customer search that would lead to buying your product, right? Fitness coach near me. That might be a very simple search, okay? Or running coach near me, whatever it might be. You know, I need a mortgage lender or a real estate agent, you know, or whatever it is that you're doing, you need to show up for that. So you have to set up your website to answer those questions to Google so that Google and Bing show you when those searches happen. But you need to think through what that starting point is, because if you can't think through that, you can't write the content to match it. What questions do you get asked? Is there a common question that you always get asked? Answer that on your website. That becomes a little piece of content that Google absorbs and knows that you have the answer to that question. Because a lot of people type Google searches like a question. How do I do this? Where can I get that? All right. So if you can answer those on your website, you can actually be found on Google through those methodologies. Things that make you the expert. All right. So this is a little bit outside of just what do you offer. Can you talk about things in your field that make you the expert? This is what the blog is kind of for. So going back to, you know, maybe the photography again, maybe you write a blog article on the top 5 camera lenses of this year. Okay. By writing that article, you show that you are the expert in this field. You're not selling those 5 lenses, but you create a breadth of knowledge. And strangely enough, Google gets that. Google is very, very smart at linking ideas together because that's how all of its processing works, is it links ideas. So if I have a website that talks only about photography stuff, and then I add a page that sells, you know, bananas, Google's gonna go, what the heck is this? This doesn't fit any of the rest of this stuff. Get rid of that, throw it away, and it will never get shown. Okay. So making sure that your content is inside of your field of expertise. Where do I do business? You need to answer basic questions about location and phone and email. These things Google checks for consistency. We'll talk about that in a second, listing management, but you need to list those things on your website. What am I selling and what is the benefit to mine, as in my product, right? You need to show the differentiators, okay? If you can't show differentiation, you haven't helped the buyer make a decision, right? If this one is yellow and it's $5 and yours is yellow and $5, it doesn't matter which one I buy. If this is yellow and $5, this is yellow and blue and $5. Oh, okay. Well, now I have something to actually make a decision on. Do I want it yellow? Do I want yellow and blue? Price didn't change, but the product or the benefit did. Okay. And maybe it was always yellow and blue. You just didn't say it. So you need to write out what is the actual benefit to mine. All right. I'm going to give you a piece that I go through with all of my clients when creating our branding and our messaging. Okay. It's a 5-step flow chart. Okay. Feature, benefit, excitement, cost, and pain. I'm going to walk you through this. You can do this on your own, and this is the most powerful selling statement in your business. Okay. The feature is, what does the person get from you? Okay. Now, it might just be something as simple as they get the product, whatever the thing is. But try and really break it down. Make it something interesting. Don't just say you get a hamburger. Okay. You get food to keep you running. Okay. That's energy. Okay. The benefit The benefit then is, what is the physical benefit to the person bringing in this feature into their life? So in this case, if we're using the hamburger style choice, it would be, you buy a hamburger so that you gain energy and you're fueled for the day and you defeat hunger. And the benefit is that I'm no longer hungry and that I have fuel to run. The excitement, now this is where things get really cool, okay? The excitement is, what is the emotional benefit of the benefit, right? So now that I've eaten, I am no longer hangry. I can make good decisions, okay? And I don't have to worry about eating for a while. That might be an emotional benefit to that. And it makes me feel good. It tastes good and it makes me happy. Okay. Those are all emotional benefits of that. Now we get dark. The cost is, what is the physical cost if you don't purchase the feature? So that cost would be, you stay hungry and you are cranky and you don't feel good. Okay. You're going to get rumbly guts all day long. And then the pain, much like the first phase, we're going to go, what's the emotional pain result of that cost? So by not purchasing and staying hungry, I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be irritable. I'm going to not feel good at the top of my game. I'm going to be distracted, and I'm not going to be able to get work done, so I can't grow my business. By taking that 5-step selling proposition, you can put that in front of just about any client. And at that point, they have no more objections other than price, cost, timing, basic logistics. All right. So definitely walk through that with your business. And you don't have to just make one. If you have multiple products or multiple services, you can make this multiple different times in multiple different ways. This is a very powerful statement. When you have this created, you can create almost all the rest of your content out of this. All right, so I alluded to listing management before. Let's talk about this real quick. Listing management is the concept that search engines look at a ton of different listing sites to make sure that you're consistent with your business information. So when Google goes to show somebody for therapist near me, okay, they're looking at all of these different websites and more to decide if you're the best choice, okay? This is just a very small selection. There's about 98 different listing services out there that you can put your information on for free, okay? That's a lot of work and it's hard to manage, okay? Luckily, there's a service called Yext that will do it for you. You put in all your information in one spot. You do pay them a nominal fee every month, but they will distribute your information everywhere. And when it starts to match, then Google will show you more as a reliable local result. I know that this sounds crazy, but if you take one thing away from this entire talk, this is a needle mover. This is huge, especially if you have a local business. If you're not local, it's a little less important. Like for me, I'm a nationally focused business. I do work all over the United States. But if you have a location and you want to do work in that location, do this. Please, please, please do this. Social media, we're going to kind of breeze through this a little bit real quick because everybody kind of knows what social media is. But in order to make an impact for your brand, there are 2 different strategies that you can take with social media. You can either take the heartbeat approach, which is what I recommend most businesses do. The heartbeat approach is that you post 3 times a week on your social media. And what that does is, to any potential clients, you will look active. And that's all they're looking for. They'll go to your social media and they'll go, okay, they posted 2 days ago. They're a real company. I trust them because they care about their social media. Okay. That's the first option. The second option is a lot more aggressive, and it's the social growth model, which is you need to be posting 3 times a day to grow your audience on social media so that you can actually you can develop and nurture opportunities through social media. And 3 might be too low. That's terrifying, I know. But in order to make that kind of growth on social media now in 2022, you need to be posting that often and different kinds of content. We're talking posts, images, clever quotes, videos, reels, TikToks, everything. That's why it's very hard to grow social media unless you have a full-time dedication to it. It's very time consuming. Okay. It's why social media agencies are so big, because they have the time and the bandwidth and you don't. So, and then if you do decide to do either of these methodologies, just make sure that whatever you do, whatever you post, adds value to the reader. Now, that value can be as simple as check out this beautiful thing, or this cool thing, or this funny thing, and you brighten their day, or you make them feel a little bit better. But it can also be educational. It can be informative. It can be tender. It can be vulnerable even, it can be funny. It can be sassy. If you're going to go sassy, you need to lean your whole brand into that. So probably stay away from sassy, but yeah, so whatever you're doing, just make sure that the person consuming it doesn't feel like they lost a moment in their life. Maybe that's the better way to say it. It's a little bit more negative. I don't like to say negative, but make sure that you don't waste their time with your social post. All right. The dark side of all of marketing, which is paid advertising. Okay. The single most effective tool available to small businesses for growth is paid ads. As a marketer, I hate that I'm saying that sentence. It is awful, but it is also true. If you take the time to develop paid ads that are good targeting, that are well written, that are valuable content, that are informative and engaging, you will grow. You will not be able to keep up with the growth because you'll be getting your content in front of the right people, right? We were talking about not advertising annoyingly to people who can't become potential clients. This bypasses the entire system and puts your content in front of people who are 50 to 70% ready to buy your product. And now you're just making that last push into the sales to get the opportunity to close. That is the beauty of paid ads. And the reason it works is because Facebook and Google have way too much information on us as people, and they're more than happy to sell it to people like me so that I can put ads in front of you. At the end of the day, you can sit there and say it's shady and it's bad, but it's also available and your competitors are doing it. And it's moving the needle for them. Does it cost money? Yeah, it does. But ask yourself, what have you been spending to get leads through referral programs? What's the cost of an actual referral lead? What's the cost of local networking? And then compare and say, if I could get a lead for every $20 I spend, $15 I spend, $5 I spend. I've seen campaigns that have crushed it with, they're getting a lead every 80 cents, every 4 cents. Depends on the product, obviously, but we can't ignore it. It's there. Can you survive without it? Absolutely. You will not grow as fast as you would like to. Spend time on targeting if you're going to do this. Nick?
We got a quick question.
Yes.
Mike Willen wants to know, how does the new Apple privacy policy affect paid ads?
Great question. If you have a marketer who knows what they're doing, it doesn't. Basically, there's some extra loopholes you have to jump through with Facebook ads in particular, but it's really not that big of a deal once it gets set up. It's a one-time kind of bypass deal. So great question. Thank you so much. If you're going to do paid ads, this is what I would recommend you do. Spend time on your targeting, then review your targeting again. Targeting is everything with ads. We don't want to spend money on people who aren't the right people to receive the messaging, okay? Simple messages, simple landing pages. Don't make it complicated, all right? Your ads should be very targeted. So if I'm selling a widget, okay, and I know that all redheads want widgets. This is a bad example, but I'm going to use it anyways because now I'm in it. I want to make sure that my targeting says I'm targeting all redheads, all right, and that when they see the ad, it says the widget for redheads. Click here to get your widget for redheads. And then they go to a page and it says, click here to buy your redhead widget. And then they buy it. Okay. As simple and direct as possible. Do not distract them with anything else. They'll come back around and review all of your information and your website and who you are later. Or at least they'll be in that process and they'll come back and become a consumer later too. But getting the right simple messaging in front of the right people is everything. And then ask them to do something. Buy, download, call, schedule, whatever it is. With that paid ad, you want a call to action. You want them to get in the water, do something. Because if we just created awareness, that's not bad. There are awareness ad campaigns and they can be effective. But I would say for the budgets and if you're a small business looking to grow, figure out the one thing that you want to sell that's easy to sell, that everybody needs, or not everybody, your target customer needs, target it, add, sell. And then measure. Just make sure it's worth it at the end. You know, if you get 1 month down the road and you go, it's $40 a lead and it's not working, pull it back. Don't keep doing it. That's silly. It's not going to get better. It's going to be the same. But if you do dial something and you go, man, I'm getting $5 leads out of this and I'm super happy with that, don't stop. Heck, pour more fuel on the fire. Kick up that budget. All right. Okay. We're coming to the end here. This is my last slide. Well, second to last slide. These are things that I would recommend if you're looking to get started in marketing. Do these things first. Okay. These are the things that are actual action items I want to give to you that you can go do. The first thing you can do is you can review your website with Gtmetrix.com. This is a free service. It's a speed test, but it's way more than a speed test. It gives you actual items that you can change to improve your score. It breaks it down. So if you do the website or if someone else does the website, you can give them this link. They can go and do it and get actual items that they can do to fix the speed on your website. The next is review your SEO with SE Optimer. Okay. SEO P timer, however you want to say it. This is another free service. It will scan your website for SEO performance. Okay. It will give you a literal letter grade, A, B, C, D, F. Okay. And it will give you the line items that you need to change in order to make your SEO better. These two things will drastically improve the performance of your website. Done. The third thing would obviously be to update something on the website now that you have all this new information. In addition, I would encourage, if you can write a new paragraph on a page, just a paragraph. Google loves when things are getting better. So just by adding a little bit can really impact your performance in search engines. Post something on social. I'm going to just leave that right where it's at. Review your Google My Business listing. Make sure that all of your information is up to date. Put in holiday hours. I know that's so dumb, but like put them in. Any information that you can feed Google in your Google My Business profile is important. So I said earlier, the listing management with the Yext, if there's one thing you take away, do that. This is like part of that. Make sure your Google My Business listing is the most accurate, up-to-date, informative piece of content you've created for your business. Done. Create a piece of giveaway content. You have knowledge. You have a lot of experience in your field. Create some kind of PDF, video, something that you can give to people. You can give away, give some potential ideas, or inform them on something. Yes.
What is your opinion on, I feel like everybody's giving everything away. And then it takes the value of what we have, I feel, this is a survey of one, down. And so I feel like when I give things away and I'm a generous person, that then why should they pay for the next thing if I'm giving this away? So do you have
Yes.
a parameter
Yes.
for that?
So don't give away your product.
Right.
Okay. I'll give you one of my giveaways is I give away a checklist of everything we do as a business. I give that checklist away. And the reason for that is because it's extremely overwhelming to a small business owner.
Right.
And they go, okay, all of that's in your package. Great. And that, even though I just gave you my entire secret sauce,
You're not going to do it.
there's no way you're going to do it.
Okay, good. That's helpful. Thank
All
you.
right. So like I use that, the overwhelm method is one option. Another way is anything that would lead into your sale. So for example, if there's a stretching routine that you do every class before you start, that's a great thing to give away because it's not terribly unique. It is part of what you do. It is valuable to see that stretching technique and to feel it. And I get to get that knowledge from you. So now you're the expert in my head. So then when I look to actually do a class, I have this forefront knowledge of what to do with you. Okay. So just some simple ideas of, don't give away the product, right? Don't give away the product. You are worth the product. You've worked so hard to put your business where it's at, and the price of what you do is worth it. So don't give that away. But there's a lot of fence sitters. And there's a lot of people, particularly in my field. So my potential clients, I have a lot of people who want to hire me so they can see what I do and then go do it on their own. So I'm just going to give that to you up front. Now I've actually avoided a bad customer experience because I gave them what they wanted in the first place and they can go away. Right. So that's an advantage to me. So maybe find a way, where you can give some information away that will actually disqualify people and keep them out of your system. That's high level thinking there, but I'm sure you can figure something out. All right. Write a 5 email chain for sending to a potential customers, right? So just pre-bake, here's 5 emails. I'm going to space them out 3 days apart, and I'm going to send these 5 emails every time I get a new potential lead. That's going to save you so much time, and it's going to be so valuable in nurturing new potential clients. And you did it all up front. And I guarantee you to write 5 very simple emails with some value add content in them, like check out our case study. Here's our service list. Here's some testimonials, whatever it is. You could probably write those 5 emails in like 2 hours or less. And then that's going to be useful for you for the rest of your business. All right. I do have one more slide. I'm smarter than me. Here's things you can spend 5 minutes a day doing marketing that can actually, add value. You'll notice there's some commonalities of what we've already said, but social post something. Write a paragraph for your website. Add 1 email to that chain you developed. Answer an FAQ. Request a review. Update a product. Respond to posts on social media. Take a picture of your business. No one takes pictures of their stinking business. No one does it. Take pictures, because there's nothing more trustworthy than seeing the picture of your studio, of your office, I know you're real. You're not some kind of scammy company that's just going to walk away with my money because you are based out of Nebraska or whatever. Like, you're a real company. So take pictures, shoot a quick video, and then overcome in a common sales objection. So this one's a little bit deeper. I do like this one a lot though. I commonly get, one of my objections is that, well, if I grow, how can I hire people right now? It's so bad. Well, I have a solution for that. I spent some time researching that, but it's a free offering and it removes the objection. So now we're back to the sale, right? So these are things you can spend 5 minutes a day. If you just do 1 or 2 of these a day, that's 10 minutes. You've got that time. You're drinking your coffee anyways. All right. Make it happen. and always provide value. Always, always, always provide value. If you do nothing else, we are in a content focused society. That content needs to provide value, whether that's a chuckle or not. A chuckle is value, but we need to provide value. That's it. That's what I had. I got through all of it. I don't know how much time we're on point. Okay, good. Questions, I guess, is the point we've got to now. I'm an open book. Yes, please.
So you said to call Yext?
So you can go to yext.com and you can just sign up. I think their service costs maybe what, 10 or 15 bucks a month, and it will manage all those listing services, one of which is very hard to get into, and that's Amazon Alexa listing service. So if someone goes on their Alexa and says, hey, find me a whatever, you could actually show up. So much harder service to get into. So
It's a good thorough presentation. It's good that there's no questions, right?
oh, I guess yeah.
There's a test, I'm in trouble though, so.
No. Absolutely, yeah.
Said paid ads work.
Paid ads work.
So what do I talk about that?
So
Marketers that would be in the field of what I'm doing, that know what they're doing.
so
Where do I find that person?
you can just search for a paid ad agency. We do it too. But as far as ads go, you could probably, I would say for your business, I would focus on Facebook ads. Okay. And then you want to get your targeting right. So anybody who's expressed interest in breathing techniques or Tai Chi or any kind of movement-based yoga, stuff like that, you can narrow that down. Okay. And then if you have a specific age range that you like working with, you can even narrow it further. Okay. And then from there, all you do is create the ad. There's tons of YouTube videos, how to set up Facebook ads. I'm sure you can find something if you want to do it on your own. It is a little complicated on Facebook, I will say that. So just take your time with it. Don't rush into it, but ads do work as long as the targeting is good. Bad targeting is the death of ads.
Where do Facebook ad? Where do I find somebody supposed to do it for me?
Okay, well, I mean, my agency does ads, or you can just search for a paid ad agency or a Facebook ad agency, and they'll walk through with you. They're probably going to be better than, I'm going to sell myself out here for a second. Just an ad agency is going to be better than my agency. We focus on the digital baseline. So those 5 elements, we do all 5 of those. So that's kind of my gimmick, is that we want to do your whole baseline. So just doing ads, we're not as lean on as maybe just an advertising company. But if you're looking to do that whole baseline, I'm definitely the guy you want to talk to. So, yes.
I have 2 questions. So one is with regards to the paid ads. And I don't know that I understand all this, but when I first opened my business, someone, said to me that it's better that it happens organically, like from the customer perspective versus paid ads in front of you.
Can I ask when that was?
3 years ago.
Okay. All right.
So I don't know. I mean, I've seen other businesses have them, like you're saying.
What I have seen is that your best customers typically will come organically, but your amount of sales will definitely skyrocket with ads.
Okay.
The thing about ads is, at this point, we're all so used to it. I mean, you're on Instagram and you scroll past 30 ads in a 5-minute span. We're just used to it at this point. And because the targeting is so good, I actually get ads for things that I might want, which I think is awesome personally. Like, I've been advertised several things I didn't know existed, and then I bought them and I love them. So good targeting makes it work. But I haven't seen anything where the true quality of the account was poor because of an ad. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, and then my second question is, so you talked about posting 3 times a day to grow your audience.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I, and like you said, you know, the opinion of one is I don't like on the receiving end as a consumer, like too many emails, too many posts. Like I'm like, I'll unsubscribe, you know, to the email or to following that or whatever. Is like, I don't want to saturate.
That's fine. So 2 things about that, and I hope this answers the question. One is that you're in a very small minority of people who will actually unsubscribe. I mean, it's very small. Most people will not unsubscribe. And the second thing is that the time that a post is valuable, that it gets its most activity, this depends on platform, but we're going to go with Instagram because it's kind of the most common at this point. The post's lifespan is about 22 minutes. That's how long it has a good impact. It's a little bit longer if the people following you have less content in their feed. They follow less things. But typically speaking, you're going to get the very lion's share of your interactions on your post within the first 20 minutes.
Okay.
So posting 3 times a day, you're only lasting an hour of that day in people's feeds.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's worse on Twitter. If you looked at my slide, I didn't even include Twitter.
No.
If you're not active on Twitter, don't start. I can't stand it. So.
Well, I'm just curious because I'm doing that 3 times a week, and that was kind of my parameter of like, okay, hit people, you know, beginning, middle, towards the weekend, it's not over inundate them.
Right. So from a purely marketing math perspective, we utilize this system called touch points. And what touch points is every time someone experiences your brand and how many times that you need that to happen before they become a client. Okay. The average keeps going up, but it's somewhere between 22 and 28 touch points on average. So if you're sending out 3 posts a week, okay, and now let's say I'm a potential client and I only get on social media on one of those days, right? Because 20-minute span, I only see one of your posts. Now we're 22 to 28 weeks away from me engaging with you because I'm only seeing 1 post a week. Now you post 3 times a day. I see you 3 or 4 days out of the week. Okay, now we're 1 month away from converting me into a customer. But that's if you're trying to use a social growth strategy. If you're just utilizing social media as a trust builder, right? I exist. We keep up to date on our social media. We posted within 4 days. That's perfectly fine. Especially for higher ticket items, I've found that that's a safer way because they want to see whatever the higher ticket thing is. And if you're posting too often, they won't be able to see it as well, right? So it's really up to you and what your growth strategy is.
What are your thoughts on TikTok?
Okay.
For a small local based business.
Okay.
And do you have to dance? That's the question.
No, I just.
As of 2021, Google is no longer the most visited website on the planet. It is now TikTok. I don't know if anyone in here knows of or is a fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. He's kind of a marketing celebrity. If you don't know who he is, definitely go on YouTube and Google Gary V-E-E, and check out any one of his ridiculously numbered videos. but his opinion, and he's the biggest media agency in the world. So their customers are Coca-Cola and Ford. Okay. He said, if you want to grow, you have to post on TikTok 4 times a day. Okay. Now, the guy is doing Coca-Cola and Ford. So take that with a huge grain of salt. All right. But TikTok is the most visited website on the planet. And it's kind of not close. Like you would have thought it would just eke out Google. No. It beat it by a pretty wide margin. So again, I'm going to come back to not necessarily what to do on TikTok, but whatever you do, make that post have value. Make it value add content. Again, a chuckle is value, right? So I'll give you an example. I have a client who is in New York, and they're a doctor. Okay. We've talked about putting them up on TikTok because it would show more personality in your doctor than how many have a doctor who's the most boring person in the world. Pretty much all of us, right? I mean, I don't dislike my doctor, but if I saw my doctor dancing on TikTok, I'd probably laugh, So not to say that that's what you have to do. Find your own rhythm, like find whatever content makes sense. But trends are where accounts blow up. So don't be afraid of that. In fact, like yesterday, I try and post a tip every day. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram Reels. I try to put them on LinkedIn every day if I can, but I did not have the energy to do a full tip. So I just did a stupid trend post, and it's going to keep my account going, and it's fine. It's in my repertoire. Someone will see that and chuckle, and they'll see my tips as well. And it's all good, right? At the size of our businesses, traffic is the most important thing. I'd rather more people see me be silly than not see me at all. Nick.
One from the chat here from Mike. He wants to know what kind of leads you're looking for.
Me? Oh, okay. I work best with businesses that want to go to that 7-figure mark. So if you're truly invested in growing your business to the 7-figure mark, and you want to get a team that's going to take you all the way to the 8-figure mark and then help you pass off to an internal team, I'm your guy. We do that digital baseline that I was talking about earlier. That's really my core, because every single business needs that. Every single business needs that digital baseline. It just doesn't matter what you do. So that's kind of who I'm looking for, but that's it. I don't know. So anything else?
So we can schedule an appointment with you.
Please do. Yes. And then you could absolutely go to my site. Remember, answer the questions people want. My site has all of my pricing. I'm totally transparent about everything. And there's a lot of great information. I mentioned that infographic that's there. That's really great. If you want to know how we use SEO and pay-per-click advertising together, my favorite package is when we build a website and then we do both ads and SEO at the same time, because they feed each other. They're so powerful together. And I think a lot of people want to just do one or the other, but they really have a lot of value together. So I've got an article up there on that as well. So, and then we have some case studies and some sites we've built and stuff. So, oh, I do.
One last question. How do you grow TripAdvisor?
That would be more of the listing service. So just making sure your data is up to date on TripAdvisor. You've got some images up there. Yeah, like I said, Yext is just, it's really a sharp tool. You give Yext like 10, 15 pictures and it puts on all these listing sites for you. It does all of your business hour data and your social media profile, everything. So, but it's just having your information the same across the internet is so important. So if I changed my phone number for my business on Google My Business, but everywhere else it says my old number, Google would go, something's wrong with this business. I'm going to value them less and put them down on the search results. So that's why we want to have unity. Absolutely. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for letting me literally ramble for however long I have rambled for. So, yeah, cool.